Welcome back to another edition of Walk-Ons Wednesday here in Raiderland. I'm just Ryan Hyatt. You guys know scoreboard guy. David Collier came at 28. Travis Cram, parts unknown. And it's back to football this week. Finally, thankfully, the open date is done. Unfortunately, now your reward is playing Oklahoma and one of the best teams in the country. All right, guys, it's 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon. Define what success looks like for Matt Wells and the Red Raiders.
I won't take Collier, so I'll say keeping a close game.
Define close. The guys in the desert say 23 and a half to 27.
Make it interesting. Don't be like Houston when Oklahoma played them the first week and it's 42-17. You're just picking up trash touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
Okay.
Keep it close till halftime and try to make the right changes at half to either pull ahead or be ahead, and maybe pull like a
Tech leading.
Yeah, like a 2011 game with Seth Dagey, if you can replicate that.
Yeah. All right. So he's high.
Well, they have no control over what I think, but I think healthy, being healthy,
survive, live through it.
It's healthy at quarterback, because let's not forget we're on quarterback number 3 here, whether everybody wants to admit to it or not. Maverick MacGyver would be starting this game if he was healthy. So healthy at quarterback, specifically healthy overall.
Yeah, I think success for me. You can still play defense in this game. It's okay, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, Keith Patterson can still draw up a few things, and maybe this defense can show a little bit more of what they showed out there in the desert against Arizona, which I thought minus one busted assignment that turned Tate loose one time and then just ground into the ground literally in the fourth quarter because they were exhausted. I think you can go have a good defensive outing. And I'll say this, if they can hold Oklahoma to under 40 points, I'll take that as a win and get out of Norman and get ready for the other Oklahoma thing next week.
The problem is, like the Tate game in Arizona, is you're playing the guy who's even better than that at that dual threat
I
system.
don't want to mention his name.
And Adrian Fry mentioned this.
Too much.
He actually said that he thought overall athlete-wise that Tate is a freak compared to Jalen Hurts. Now, it's not like he was saying anything bad about Jalen Hurts. And he also mentioned the fact that, this Oklahoma team isn't as fast. He actually said slower.
Right.
But he did have the qualifiers of the fact that, hey, Marquise Brown's not there. You don't have Kyler Murray, 2 rookies starting in the NFL. But saying that, man, you mentioned Arizona was able to pull away. I know they have good running backs there, but Oklahoma has 3
if not
guys,
4.
If not 4, exactly. And that's not even counting
Hurts.
Hurts, and then the wide receivers that they have, plus 3 freshmen that were 5-star receivers. Coming out of high school that are already producing for this. I mean, there's so much more to deal with depth-wise than Arizona.
And he mentioned it, wearing Tech down. I mean, OU could easily do that in this game. AU have Hurts, who, I like what Wells said. Tate's elite speed. Hurts is kind of that guy. He's more powerful, and he's got a better arm. So he's going to get you both ways. But then you have the other 3 running backs behind him who also have 15 rushing attempts this season and also are averaging at least 60 yards a game right now. Yeah. So they literally will wear you down. It kind of goes back to that Mixon, Pirine, like it's almost like a look from 3 or 4 years ago when you had Baker on with Oklahoma. It's kind of a different feel to it.
I legitimately think, and this is nothing against Texas Tech's defense, this is more of a depth issue. You could run the football against them with that group of guys and not even have to throw the football. And that's not saying they can't stop the run, but eventually they got to get worn down.
That's right.
Offensively for the Red Raiders, Coach Wells says, hey, we're going to play 2 quarterbacks. I have no reason to not believe him right now. How vastly different will this offense – let's not just trading out a running back here.
Right.
Will this offense look vastly different, maybe series to series in the first half?
I think it does, and I think you go back to kind of what Cliff did with Duffy the last couple of years, right? And maybe more so last year, the fact that, Duffy's going to give you that change of pace when he comes in the game. Yeah. You probably have about a certain amount of plays drawn up specifically for him that are either an RPO or it's just that design draw for him because you're going to use his speed one way or another. He can get you into too much trouble if he gets to passing that much. And you kind of have to go off what Wells said about Jackson and the fact that, he mentioned after he talked about Duffy's experience, he said, but Jackson's mental part and how he's understanding this offense this fast, I think that's impressed Wells a lot. I think you'll see him probably leading the team for the majority of the time, and then Duffy's that guy you kind of stick in there and run something different.
It's that Rice education paying off.
Yeah,
that's right.
They printed the playbook in Latin. Bam! He had it down in 2 days, and he read the Odyssey in between. Wow. So, all right, okay, so obviously we're not expecting this offense to roll out and look like the Bowman offense, but can you live through it?
I don't know. I'm still going back and forth of who's actually going to start this football game.
I think it's going to be Tyner.
Well, and you would think if you were going to have a change of pace, you would go with the guy that was going to start as a change of pace. But I think I lean more towards Tyner just for the fact that if Jet's not working, do you want to throw Tyner out there into the fire? I think you want him to start out, and if it's not working out with him,
be
maybe
calm,
put Duffy.
be calm, be cool on those first drives or whatever.
Yep.
Let that experience play off. And I know Duffy's got some experience too, but let that presence maybe of Tyner calm everything down a little bit, and then let's get going.
Well,
I think he's your better game manager when it all comes down to it.
Well, yeah, definitely. But I think we've seen what game managing can do the last game, right? But at the same time, is Duffy the guy that you want out there just for the sheer, or is this all gamesmanship? I guess is the best way to put it.
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think
Wells
Wells
you are literally going to play
gonna
both guys.
both guys.
I think he's going to play both guys, but do you think it's majority one guy though?
I think if it comes down to what that defense gives them, 'cause you got to remember, Oklahoma, if they have a weak spot on this defense, you mentioned yesterday, that front seven is probably the more experienced group.
Yeah.
They're younger, but they're experienced. The secondary, and specifically the safety group, has the most trouble for OU right now and how much deep passes they give up. So if you're going to try to go for those deep balls, you're going to run some plays with Duffy at a draw or some RPO, and then you're going to get Tyner in there to maybe throw a couple downfield and try and get Vasher or somebody open on a downfield
And
pass.
that's the great unknown. We don't even know how strong is. I'm not saying
You're right. We don't know
Yeah.
anything
We know
about it.
nothing
That's a
about it.
perfect. That's a
Yeah.
great point. We know more about Duffy than we do Tyner.
I think I learned more yesterday at the press conference when Dante Thompson said, "You don't know it." But or it might have been Adrian Fry.
It was Fry talking about how he's a little faster than he looks.
How he
He
throws
actually
the
can
ball.
run a little bit
Yeah.
better than
Yeah.
you might think, and I had no clue. You look at Jackson Tyre and you don't think running.
Tight end speed, baby.
That's right.
They're going to roll out that tight end speed. Rough couple of days for the Red Raider community and the Red Raider family around these parts. We found out Sunday that Texas Tech icon and legend E.J. Holub had passed away at age of 81. He'd been battling some illness, and that certainly was no surprise.
Yeah.
The gut punch came yesterday morning when we found out about the horrific murder of Texas Tech basketball Ring of Honor member, inaugural Ring of Honor member Andre Emmett passing away after gunshot wounds there in Dallas over Sunday night. Well, guys, I'll start off and you share some of your memories. We'll go with EJ. You had a unique chance to be in the athletic department while EJ was still pretty active there in the 2000s.
Yeah, and I think when we introduced the Ring of Honor in the football stadium, and he was one of the initial members, I mean, naturally, you knew he was going to be, but getting to sit and talk with him and spend time with him, the guy, I don't think, ever has a dull moment in his life. I mean, you could walk up and say hi, and he's telling a joke within like 5 seconds or giving you some reason to laugh. And I think that kind of showed his personality. I really liked what Gil Brandt said yesterday on Twitter about just the uniqueness of him and the fact that he played a game where he only sat out, I think, 2 plays out of the entire game on both sides of the ball. I mean, that's just impressive. The type of player he was, the type of person he was. And then, to lose him, we all knew it was coming at some point, as it all does for everyone. But yeah, interesting guy to get to know.
He made it fun.
Yeah.
And he stayed involved.
Yeah, and I didn't have that many interactions with him, but I remember, I believe it was the OU game, Spike's last game, where he had the speech that helped obviously Spike win his last football game at Texas Tech. And I'm one of those people that didn't know him beforehand, and I was kind of introduced, because it was early on in my career here, the whole Gatorade commercial. And that allowed a different generation to learn his uniqueness. And one of my favorite guys, without a doubt, related to Texas.
When he was with the Chiefs, Hank Stram obviously was the head coach, and he had a dress code when they would travel, and every year he'd get them these really snazzy blazers and whatever. He had to make one exception. He had to let E.J. Holub wear his cowboy hat when they traveled. And that actually became now, with the Chiefs during that time, said, okay, if you're E.J. Holub, you can wear a hat. Everybody else, you can't wear a hat. And that's the way it worked out. For Andre Emmett, I don't know where to begin on how good a basketball player he was, but also, and we were talking about this before we started taping here at Walk-Ons, did anyone ever work harder and want to be a part of it more than what he went through with the transition from James Dickey to Bob Knight and then the infamous night of running lines?
No, I mean, I think that story to me stands out more than anything about what type of person he was and the fact that he wasn't going to let Bob Knight walk in and kick him off this team. He cut his hair, he took out the jewelry, he did everything he asked him to, and then he did it even more with that marathon of line running he had to do in the gym that day. But I don't know. You asked one time, I remember, if you could name one player to win you a basketball game in the last 3 minutes, who would it be? For me, it was Andre Emmett. I don't know if I've ever seen someone that just absolutely would take a game over on both sides. He would score a basket, get right back on defense on an inbound pass, steal it and score again. And he did that several times. And I don't know if there was a funner play to watch and a guy to get to know just because I was at Tech with him and had classes with him at the same time.
Man, you're old.
I know, right? Yeah, that one definitely hurt. But you know, like he said after he won the dunk contest, Dre loved the kids. Man. And I think watching that Instagram story with his kids and knowing he had that one final moment with them was pretty good.
That one, that was tough to watch.
Yeah.
It was cool, but tough. You hosted the Bob Knight Show for several years. You kind of had a little inside look at what was going on in some different things. Yeah. What do you remember most about Andre's time?
Well, not to steal anything from what you said, but just the sheer fact that he wasn't going to quit.
Yeah.
I mean, that sticks out to me, and it was last year at the Hall of Fame dinner that evening before the induction. He talked about when somebody asked him, what was your thought when Bob Knight came here? And he said, how do I transfer? And, but his mom and his grandmother weren't going to let him do that. And Brian Davis has a great thing on Twitter. If you have a moment, go check out his Twitter feed from the Austin American-Statesman. He didn't want to let down his mom and his grandmother. Yeah. And that was, and his family was huge to him. I remember talking to him when he was here then about, he had just had a newborn baby. I mean, he was just such a great guy. He sat down and we talked about Chris Beard and his success and how much he loved how Tech basketball had come back. And we just had a few minutes talking about the game that was in front of us. And he loved basketball and he always had a smile on his face. And it was tough news yesterday, man.
Yeah, he would, I was doing Lady Raider basketball at the time, and I was one of the few people at different times who would be allowed in during Tech men's practice because I had to set up the equipment and they'd still be going on. And Emmett would sometimes come over and we'd visit a little bit. He'd always ask, about the Lady Raiders and different players. And then one time, I can't remember, I dropped something, right when Coach Knight is educating. In a couple of minutes, everybody just swings around. Oh, God, he's going to die. And Emmett comes over a few minutes later and goes, I thought he was going to kill you. I said, so did I. There's some water down below Presser O right there. I thought he was going to kill you. Too young, just too young. Yep. And I'm not even going to try to make sense out of it. What we can make sense out of is Walk-Ons Wednesday here in Raiderland. That can mean only one thing. College night here at Walk-Ons on Wednesday night. So if you're in college or you just want to come out and act like you're in college, this is the place to do it. Tremendous food. I'm a fan of the shrimp.
Oh, yeah. I love the burger with the fried egg.
Yep.
I think that's my favorite.
Yeah, so there's maybe some shrimp over there waiting for us.
I'm still ready for the shrimp eating contest.
I'm in.
Shrimp and
I'm
grits.
in. I'll own you guys 6 ways to Sunday.
Okay.
Or Wednesday, as the case may be. We'll see everybody next week on Walk-Ons Wednesday in Raiderland.